Okay, good morning. As you can see, the board is here, Baton Rouge, the committee on parole, and we're from Baton Rouge, speaking to Alan Cornell. The time is 9:32. The date is May the 14th. And we're gonna be talking to Mr. Andy Swanson. Is that you, Mr. Swanson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you know your DOC number?
438811.
Okay, we've already had introductions from the staff here in headquarters, and we've had introductions there at the jail or at the prison correctional facility. And so we'll move straight into the process that we're going to be going through today. We're going to first hear from you and what you have to say about why you feel like that you are deserving and warrant this particular parole that you've applied for. Then we're going to hear from the facility about what kind of inmates you've been through this time. Then we're going to hear from the folks that are supporting you on Zoom. And then we'll hear from Miss Andreanne Hutchison. Miss Hutchison, that's you there, correct? And good morning. And we'll let you choose when you want to speak. And then we will hear from the opposition, the victim's brother and sister-in-law, who will be on Zoom also. Then we will conduct our questioning. Ms. Renatza will lead the interview, and then we'll vote. So it's a pretty simple process. So let's move straight into your statement, Mr. Swanson. Exactly what did you do? Why are you there? How do you feel about it? What have you done to rehabilitate, to prove to us that you are rehabilitated? Go ahead.
Right, sir. As you know, I'm here for taking the life of a mother, daughter, wife, sister. And ever since my incarceration, since the very beginning, I've heard some pretty terrible things about myself in the trial, in my other parole hearing and things like that. So I've tried to rectify those situations through not only helping myself, but helping other people. The main thing is staying sober, because I wasn't a very good feller when I was out there drinking. Some people aren't meant to drink. I'm one of those people. And I've been involved with our veterans incarcerated, especially here. We have sponsored at Allen Correctional Center various AA treatment programs, substance abuse programs. I live in the XO of a Bravo program, which is a veterans tier. We take veterans. We don't have enough veterans on our compound, so we also have what we call auxiliary members. Now, to get there, they already have to be in the right frame of mind, but we make sure there are no relapses or anything like that. And to participate in these programs, you have to take our classes, which some of them I facilitate and a lot of them I stand in on and checking on frequently to make sure that our program is going in the right direction. But mainly I've just tried to keep myself sober, of course, which hasn't been a problem since I've been incarcerated, since the scope of what happened and so many people were harmed by what I did, that I don't want that to ever happen again. And if the board would grant me, I intend to carry the things that I used in prison and that I learned in prison, how to help people, especially veterans, to maybe not make the same mistakes that I made.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And now we'll move on to the facility there. Warden, who's going to speak to us today?
I would speak, and anybody else, you don't mind, they actually like to speak on Andy's behalf. I asked them actually come forward today to speak on his behalf. I met Andy since my arrival here at Allen 3 years ago. And on day one when I actually met him, Andy had proven himself. He worked very, very close to the administrative staff. He's very instrumental with a lot of the things that goes on at the prison with the programs, the inmate population, the upkeep of the prison. He does an excellent job with it. And one of the most important things they have to do, he worked very, very closely with the administrative staff. And that says a lot in his behalf in regards to he can be trusted to do the things that need to be done at that particular level. But Andy has really proven himself while actually being here. And we appreciate what he has to do here. So I'm gonna pass it around the table if anybody else wants to speak on his behalf.
This is Assistant Warden Simon, and again, I echo everything Warden Thompson just mentioned. Andy is a very hard worker here. He has been here for quite some time, and we have no problems with him. He will be one that will feel the effects of him leaving if he is granted.
Okay, All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, we'll move into talking to, and I said Carrie Myers, but it's not, Carrie's not here today, right? It's gonna be Andy, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and hear from you about the Louisiana Parole Project.
Morning, Andrew Hundley, appearing on behalf of Louisiana Parole Project to confirm to the board that Andy Swanson is a client of our organization. As the board's aware, our organization provides reentry support to people coming who are released from prison back into the community. If he would be released, we commit to the board to provide Andy transitional housing in our reentry program. The reentry plan that we are recommending to the board, as is referenced in his attorney's brief, is that Andy stay with our organization for 2 to 3 months in our transitional program while he awaits his ICOTS to Florida to be approved. And then he would, if approved, he would exit our program and then transfer to Florida. If that ICOTS would not be approved, our organization's in a position today to commit to the board that we would provide him long-term housing with our organization until another viable address can be provided. That being said, our organization, as you're aware, Andy had a parole hearing a few years ago. We were not a part of Andy's reentry plan at that time. The reason we've agreed to take Andy on as a client, not only because of his excellent prison record, but we put a lot of stock into what he's done since that denial a few years ago. As you're aware, some people after a denial falter. Andy's continued to maintain an outstanding record and continue to be an asset within the facility. We feel like based on his age and his time served, right now he's in the sweet spot to come home where he can still have a career, earn a living, and work towards being self-sufficient. But in summary, our organization commits to the board that we'll work with Andy on his transition and long-term sobriety plan. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hunley, thank you for those words. Next, we'll hear from Victoria Paulson, who is the sister of Mr. Swanson. Yes, ma'am, go ahead. Okay, you're on mute right now.
Now it worked. Got it?
Okay. Got it. You can
Okay.
hear it now.
I'm old. I'm a lot older than Andy. Andy's my little brother. We have a brother who's 81, and I'm the middle. So we really grew up as 3 only children. And his folks were 45 and 46 when he was born. A lot of people thought he was mine because I was 12. But at that point, they were both fully alcoholics. So he grew up his whole life seeing nothing but them drinking. They were functioning alcoholics. My mother stayed home. My father worked every day. He was a surveyor. He worked long hours, came home, ate, went right to his chair after that, and they drank until they went to bed. So he didn't see anything else. When he was 12, our mom was diagnosed with a terminal blood disease, and she only lived 7 years after that. So he was 19. So he was pretty much on his own because his dad was so engrossed in his own grief, he didn't have time for him. So Andy worked the whole time. He didn't live where we did, but he visited us sometimes. He lived about 100 miles away and was always a hard worker. Finally, when he was older, went into the Army. He'd always wanted to. He did really well there. We kept track of him when he was in Korea and everywhere else. We commuted all the time. And then when he got out, when he moved to Louisiana, we did too. We've always been in touch, and up to the point where he's incarcerated. And then it's all been through mail and through messaging, but we've always kept in touch. I know he's been very busy there. He's always had an ear or a hand for anybody who's there. He's helped inmates. Like they said, he's been in the vets group. He worked in a grill there that they have. He's helped other groups. I know he asked me to send him books all the time. He reads a lot, but we also found that he's an incredible wood carving artist. There's a lot of evidence of that in the prison, and he sent me things, and I think that will help him keep busy, besides a job when he gets out. And there's room for money for that because his stuff is incredible. I know alcohol is no reason for doing what he did, but when you're drinking like he did, you totally change. His father did too. His father had the same personality, only Andy was kind. He goes to his AA meetings, and I know he knows too that it will always be a part of his life. He knows he's an alcoholic. I think he will be able to control that. I know he will, with all the people he has around him, the people in Florida who want to take him in. And I know he's very, very sorry for what he did and all the people whose lives he changed. But I think he will come out of this better, and he will try every day of the rest of his life to be the man that he should be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your remarks. And Ms. Hutchinson, would you care to say anything at this point?
Can I reserve to speak at the end, please? Or would y'all prefer me now?
Well, I prefer now if you could, that way we can keep them separated.
That's fine. In my brief, the committee has been given a detailed look at Andy's background, his life and circumstances, that led to his alcohol abuse and how it contributed to the crime. I mean, I don't present that as any excuse, but just to give you an idea of the years of alcohol abuse that led up to this. There's no doubt that Andy's crime was horrible, and the hurt is still present with Miss Trisha's family, children, and friends. And this is why Andy took the necessary steps over these almost 25 years to rehabilitate to the man you see today. Andy's incarceration and rehabilitation have been a tremendous success, showcasing what true remorse and a desire to change looks like within the Department of Corrections. And that comes from him acknowledging his problem immediately. He began AA in the parish jail. Since then, his Bravo tier now hosts NA and AA meetings, and he's completed DOC programming like Living in Balance. He's taken the necessary steps to understand his disease and what he has to do to maintain his sobriety. He's taken the victim impact class, and he's coupled that information with what he's heard in his trial and what he's heard at the previous hearings, understanding the struggles that his children have gone through, the family has gone through, and those lasting impacts on his crime. In so much that while he does talk a lot about his work with the Veterans Club, what he doesn't speak about as much, but is very important to him, is that he's also raised money for women and children shelters for abuse victims, feeling almost like a necessity and an obligation because of his crime. He's also taken anger management and has gotten an understanding of who he was when he was drunk, and understanding conflict resolution and just not even putting yourself in those situations. His proudest work that he'll be able to talk to you about is his work within the Vets Club and the Bravo tier, organizing fundraisers that have raised thousands of dollars for veterans. He's done all this in prison, gifting items to be auctioned to the local American Legion's Hall, and truly creating an environment for men to thrive through programming, mentorship. And what I think is most important is him leading by example and showing what that rehabilitation can be a path to redemption. After Andy's last hearing, which I know y'all have access to, we heard the committee's concern with him leaving a very structured environment and going into free society. So today, Andy comes before you with a well-structured plan that mimics all the things that worked during his incarceration. So we've made contact with, and to connect Andy with 3 veteran organizations in Florida. One is the local American Legion's Hall in the area where he'll be living. Another is a nonprofit veterans organization that fundraises to help pay veteran bills. Something that Andy would be a tremendous support to. And then there was a third organization that offered kind of like a second chance organization for veterans that struggle with like PTSD, where Andy would be able to go in and try to volunteer and share his story because they also have substance abuse programs. He has a local NA and AA meeting that offers him a 24/7 access to a sponsor. He has job opportunities in a stable home environment. And as Mr. Hunley explained, the support of LPP until he transitions to Florida. The most important thing I want to do in closing is to point out that the committee today has the ability to control Andy's release. Andy has a good time today. Andy will go home. But today, the board can set parameters and conditions necessary for his success that wouldn't necessarily be available when he comes out on good time release. So if you go to page 12 of my brief, you'll see the terms and conditions that the previous board considered in AAA meetings, community service, and his inability to have contact with the victims are all things that you can set today, which makes parole the better option for Andy because of the limits that you can set. Today, we asked the committee to take into consideration his almost 25 years in prison with an impeccable record of just 2 bad days. Andy has 2 disciplinary write-ups. The support of the Allen staff, whose job it is to ensure public safety, and who I know would not show up and support Andy if they deemed him unfit. Andy handed me a folder today with 24 letters of support from staff. 9 master sergeants, 1 colonel, 2 lieutenant colonels, 6 majors, 3 captains, and 3 lieutenants, who all recommend and support Andy's parole. And most important, his strong remorse and desire to atone for his crime. Again, he has a detailed reentry plan for his success. And lastly, you have the ability as the parole committee to control the reentry of Andy into society. So thank you for your time and consideration of Andy's total record and who he is today, a man far removed from the man he was on the worst day of his life.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. Appreciate those words. Sure do. Okay, we'll move on now to the folks that are going to speak in opposition. And we have Patty and Jeff Bertholot.
It's Bertho, sir.
Bertho? Okay, thank you. I thought it was.
And we're not Cajun. Yes, sir. So addressing the parole board committee, 25 years ago, this man took my sister's life, okay, in cold blood. Since that time, even sitting here today, I have yet to hear him say that he's sorry, okay? All I hear is it was about the alcohol. And I understand that. I'm a medical provider for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice here in Texas. I know these inmates. They go through these programs. They manipulate these programs to get out for early release. And what happens? A lot of them end up coming right back because they don't have the sincerity or the remorse for their actions. When he killed my sister, he took my only sister, my parents' only daughter. He killed a mother of 3, who at that time the kids were 7, 4, and 2 at home. They were at home when he shot her. Was there any remorse that night? No. When he was arrested, at no point in time did he ever say that he was sorry for what he did. He put her body in the bed of his truck. His only job was a part-time logger. Who knows where he was going that night with her body in the bed of his truck and the kids. For the last 25 years, my parents had to raise those 3 kids. My dad is since dead. He's been dead for 3 years. My mom is in a nursing home. They sacrificed everything to raise the 3 kids that their father took away their mother. I believe when he gets out, which is not fair, he was sentenced to 40 years. In 40 years, he can resume his life. If he gets out early, he can resume his life. My sister will never, ever have that opportunity. My niece and nephews will never get to see their mother. Their kids will never know their grandmother. He was a manipulative person back in the day, and I believe that he's still a dangerous and manipulative person at this time. I'm glad he's a model inmate. I'm glad that he's doing everything there that he can, but I don't think he deserves the right to get out early when we are sentenced to a life sentence without my sister. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We'll take those words into consideration also. Okay, your interview is to be conducted by Ms. Cheryl Renatza on my left. So, Ms. Renatza.
Like, want to speak?
Oh. Okay.
Did Miss
Mr.
Patty
Bertha?
want to speak?
Miss Patty, does she want to speak?
Did Miss Patty want to speak?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize for not calling on you. I thought it was just one line here go ahead and tell us what's on your mind.
Yes, sir. I just would like to echo the words of my husband and, you know, the board, I appreciate them doing what they have to do as a paid position, and they see him being a model inmate. I think that's wonderful. But again, you have to look back and see that his peers in our system in the United States sentenced him to 40 years. I don't know why it wasn't life, but that's a whole nother story. So 40 years, I truly believe he needs to serve that. That's a punishment by his peers. And again, wonderful that he is a model inmate. That is great for the system. He should be. But I warn you, and I want you to understand his manipulative behavior. I am no psychologist or psychiatrist, but his psychological bipolarness, his sociopath, it just is, his list continues on. And I believe the board is being manipulated by an inmate. And if nothing else, he needs to serve because of his children that he left. When he shot Trish, and she has a name, when he shot her in cold blood and literally threw her body in the back of his truck. I hope that y'all can pull up pictures from the trial and pictures from the scene of what happened and how they lived and where they lived. They moved different places constantly to stay ahead of the creditors. He had credit cards in his children's names at the time. I can't explain to you, and alcohol is not the sole reason of his behavior. So please take this into consideration. Let him continue to serve the sentence that his peers gave him at the time, a minimum of 40 years, which is, again, ridiculous that he didn't get life for the way and what he did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for those comments. And I apologize again for not having called on you. Okay, as I said a moment ago, Ms. Renatza, would you take over the interview?
Sure. Mr. Swanson, good morning. How you doing today?
All right, ma'am.
I noticed, I made a note that you were seen before a parole panel in 2021. You were denied, and I've made a note to ask you, why were you denied?
I had gotten a majority decision, and at that time you needed a unanimous decision.
So one vote that said no, what reason did he give you?
I wasn't finished with pre-release yet, ma'am. That was one of the prerequisites for a unanimous or for a majority board. I hadn't finished pre-release yet.
That's what he told you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and let me thank you for your service. I did note you're a veteran, Army veteran. Thank you for that. And thank you for the work that you do with the Vets Club there. Since your last hearing, I see that you did complete the pre-release. You also completed a victim impact program. What did you get out of that?
The vast scope of all of the victims, not just Trish, but her family, her children, our children, mothers, fathers, my side of the family, friends. It's just a terrible cycle. It just affected too many people. It's just
How do you believe it affected your children?
I believe they had to grow up without a loving mother and without a father, which I wasn't too much of one back then, but they deserve way better than that. They had to grow up without a mother, and that's not right at all.
Yeah, we do have, some of your children are opposed, and there is, as Ms. Bertho has said, there is some indication in the record that you have a manipulative nature. Have you had a mental health evaluation since you've been in jail?
The standards every time we get a annual review board, ma'am.
So you've never had a mental health diagnosis?
I don't believe so, ma'am.
Well, you would know. Would you say that your household, when you were living at home with your wife and children, was there other domestic violence instances?
No, ma'am.
There's some indication in the record there may have been.
No, ma'am. Never any violence, just that night. I never harmed her. I mean, we argued, we were married, but I drank too much and that would cause us to argue now and then. But at one point in time, she left for a couple of weeks and went to Kansas with her mother and father. And she had me come up and pick her up and bring her back. We patched that up, but I just wasn't a very good husband.
All right, I'm gonna just sit back and listen to my colleagues. I have no other questions.
I don't have any questions either.
I'm ready to vote.
May I have one statement, please? I wanted to clear up that, Andy was charged with second-degree murder. He did go to trial. At trial, he did not, contest that he, had shot Miss Trish, but presented a defense that basically stated, that he did not have the requisite intent to kill Miss Trish, in which the jury found him guilty of the lesser offense of manslaughter, which means that they found that he did not have the requisite intent to kill Miss Trish at the time. I just wanted to clear up the charge in which he was given. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aitken.
May I say something, please?
No, ma'am, we allowed her to on a legal point. Well, go ahead. Let's go ahead and hear from you. Yes, ma'am. Make it very brief, please.
Yes, sir. I'll be very brief. Just to clarify, he does have a history. We did have a notebook that Trish kept of all the abuse. She had pictures of all the abuse. It was brought up in the trial, so this is not new information. He was very abusive. She did leave. He threatened her that if she didn't come back, that he would kill the children and her. So there was a verbal threat before. So there's more, but you said brief, so I just wanted you to hear that. That again, it's all in the books.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Okay. I think we're ready to vote.
Yes, and we do have that information. That's why I asked the question. So, Mr. Swanson, as I said, I'm really pleased to hear the positive work that you're doing there at Allen and working with your vets and those that you can and working well with the administrative staff. There is significant law enforcement opposition and other opposition that's in the record in addition to the family and the victim. My vote today, based on those oppositions, is to deny your application for parole today.
My vote is to deny due to law enforcement and victim opposition.
Okay. And I concur with them. I think that victim opposition, law enforcement opposition, and the length of time he served on a 40-year sentence is not sufficient on a even a manslaughter charge. So today your parole has been denied. The time is 10:02. That'll be the end of that.